Everyone has heroes. Heroes that can inspire us, be them real or fictional. This inspiration can come from the comics in our hands, the screens at the theater, at home, or in our pockets. The furry fandom has its printed heroes, like Usagi Yojimbo, Black Sad, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Rocket Raccoon, and many more. We talked about them a little back in this episode about furry comics and Usagi Yojimbo. However, those are anthropomorphic animal characters, and we won't be talking about those today. Instead, we will be examining this question. How much of an animal theme does a superhero have to embrace to become a furry? Today, superheroes with flamboyant animal costumes are culturally effed. Furry can mean practically anything for the specific individual. One person's approach to the fandom will not be the same as the next person's. What furry means to a person boils down to the individual's own views and thoughts on their own personal journey with it. Our criteria for furry heroes are as follows. Animal-themed costume or appearance. Clear affinity for the animal in question, and a secret identity separate from their animal persona. Disqualifiers include anthropomorphic animal heroes, no affinity for the animal or prior affinity for the animal, or incidental animal powers. More on that later. With that in mind, let's look at some comic heroes who could be considered by some interpretations as furries. Our first subject is the Dark Knight, the Caped Crusader, that's right, Batman. We should all know the story by now. Billionaire playboy by day, fights crime at night after witnessing parents' murder as a child. Dresses up as a bat to do so, he's also a ninja, a scientist, and Sherlock Holmes all rolled into one. Here we have the hallmarks of someone who might be mistaken for a member of our crazy subculture. A secret identity separate from their persona, an animal costume, and a clear devotion to the animal theme. Choosing an animal to represent oneself is a very common feature of the furry fandom. Batman is a human who took an animal as his inspiration and symbol. He does not, however, have powers related to a bat, or showed a clear interest in them before that fateful night. Batman's reasoning for taking his symbol are very defined. For Batman, the bat is a symbol of fear, the power of a cultural fear of the night and what lurks in it. Animal symbols can represent being more than human. A man is just a man, but a symbol is something far more. The bat is his symbol to inspire the criminal element with the fear of justice brought on by his leather wings. Batman is a walking intimidation check, and he always rolls a 20. Maybe he just likes bats way more than he lets on. Batman could be a furry superhero, but so could any other hero with an animal theme. Some more than others. Catwoman, frequent fling of the Caped Crusader, is a cat burglar by trade and has embraced her theme through a variety of feline-inspired costumes. She too can fall into our possible furry hero banner. A cat burglar who took the cat meaning as far as she could. Well, as far as latex and leather could get her. You could also make the argument that she's merely following Batman's lead and playing a little dress-up. Furry itself is as fluid as the different takes on these comic characters over the decades. We can make the distinction by separating characters who adapted their animal-like superpowers to take on their new hero personas. Many superheroes and villains with animal themes fall in the incidental area. Spider-Man is an example of this. The webhead did not choose the spider as his symbol for a specific attachment to the creature. Like the song tells us, Spider-Man has the powers of a spider, not that he particularly cared for them beforehand. The argument could be made that Batman is further down the furry hero spectrum than Spider-Man would be. Spidey's villains like the Vulture or the Rhino also fall on more of the side of incidental animals. They both have animal-themed powers and costumes, but neither really seem to have an affinity for the persona in question, and chose their names based more on their powers. The Penguin is in a middle zone, some versions more than others. While sometimes bird-like in appearance, Oswald Cobblepot usually is a gangster with a clear affinity for his chosen animal symbol. Much like Batman, he tends to embrace theming of his operations with it. The character's usual attire alludes to his namesake as well, if not directly as one would assume for a furry character. The Monarch from Venture Brothers is here too, but butterfly-focused. They skip the secret identity entirely and embrace their animal persona full out. Let's look at a character who could easily be mistaken for a fursuiter solely based on their appearance. I am talking about Squirrel Girl. Severe theming around a specific animal? Check. Clear affinity towards the animal in question? Check. Powers based around that? Check. With an asterisk. Squirrel Girl has squirrel powers and theme costume to match, but her status as a mutant, at least until recently, can change the argument. For most of her publication history, Squirrel Girl's powers have been all natural. The prehensile tail, the squirrel-like agility, and bucked teeth, all there from birth. She based her name and outfit on her powers, not so much her affinity for squirrels, although she really likes squirrels. Had she not been born with the ability to talk to squirrels, it's doubtful that she would have developed a squirrel fursona. So she fits comfortably into the same area of Spider-Man hangs out in. But she loves squirrels so much, I can't help but think that despite all that she would still be interested in the furry fandom if something like it exists in her universe. Maybe it's that she's a college-aged and into computer science.
That's even furrier if you ask me.
But if it makes you feel any better, we could make an argument that Wolverine falls into the possible furry criteria. While originally a codename given to him during one of his many backstories /retcons conga lines of murdered love interests, Wolverine does hit a few of our checkmarks. A very loosely themed animal costume, especially some of his earliest outfits for example. He also has a power set that's not directly related to his theme. Many animals have claws and an incredible senses. Logan has also shown clear kinship with wild animals. If not specifically Wolverine's in question, a lot of bonding with bears. One aspect of Wolverine's character has always been the battle between his civilized self and his feral instincts. A man struggling with the urge to act like a wild animal? That might strike a chord or two with the furry fandom. This thought experiment of superhero furries can be revisited and applied to many characters across the multiverse. Some more than others. So back to our core thought. Does an animalistic theme intrinsically mean furry for a superhero? The furry fandom doesn't even exist inside a lot of the canons we're discussing. It is as fluid and open to interpretation as furry itself. But ultimately, no, not really. The arguments can be made for both for and against, and I hope you'll help lay some of those down in the comments section below. Tell us what you think. Are some superheroes furries? Tell us which ones you think would be part of the fandom and why down in the comments. I have been your host, Darkay. Thanks for watching. Special shout out to our guest writer, Kanada. Not like Canada, it's like a K, like from Akira. He reached out with some great ideas for some scripts, including this one. Won't be the last time we hear from Kanada, so thanks again, Kanada. Cool.
Hi, I'm Rusty Shackelford. Wasn't that episode extra special? I think I learned something, a really valuable lesson about things. It was made by these hardworking people who do it all for almost no money, except for the money that these kind people contribute through this website. If you like what we do, share. Share it with your friends. Never stop tweeting about us. Ever. Tweet like that jerk RK tweets. Not on Twitter, just the way he talks. He goes on quite a bit if you don't stop him.
Subscribe.
Subscribe! Good night!